Exercise 11.7, surface area and volume of solids. Volume is the amount of space contained within a figure. Easiest way I like to think of volume is if you took a container, you fill it up with water, volume would measure how much water does that container hold. Volume is a three-dimensional measurement. So it's always measured in cubic units, so centimeters cubed, feet cubed, inches cubed, miles cubed, whatever it might be. Three common solid shapes, which we are going to talk specifically about, are rectangular solids, cubes, and cylinders. Rectangular solid. Define the volume, it's length times width times height. For a cube, we have a separate formula, but it's really the same formula as what we have here. Remember, a cube just means that the length, the width, and the height are all the same measures. So if the length, width, and height up here were all 8 units, I would have 8 times 8 times 8, which is the same thing as taking 8 cubing it. So if you want to memorize the shortcut formula, you can. It doesn't really save you much time because you're going to be using a calculator either way, whether you type in 8 cubed or 8 times 8 times 8. Doesn't save you a whole lot of time either way. Third formula, volume of a cylinder, pi r squared h. Most difficult part here is you have to know the formulas. They're not going to be given to you. You have to know the formulas. Using the formulas is not too difficult. You're just going to be plugging the numbers into your calculator as you find each different volume. Surface area. Surface area of a figure is the sum of the area of its faces. Okay, so volume, think of filling it with water. It's how much water does that figure hold. Surface area, if you think of like a box and you are going to wrap a box and give it to somebody, it's how much paper would it take to cover that box. Surface area, because it is a type of area, is always going to be square units, centimeters squared, feet squared, inches squared, and so on. To find the surface area of a rectangular solid, you add up the area of all 6 faces. To find the surface area of a cube, it's 6 times the side squared. This formula will save you a little bit of time if you can remember it for a cube. If you don't remember it and you know for a rectangular solid how to find the area, you can do the same thing for a cube, and you'll see as we go through why that is. Finally, surface area of a cylinder, 2 pi rh plus 2 pi r squared. Second part of this formula right here, think of a cylinder as being a soup can. Okay, if I want to cover the soup can in paper, this right here represents the top and bottom circle. Remember, the area of a circle is pi r squared. How many of those circles do we have? 2 of them. So that's this part of the formula. This part of the formula right here is that label that if you take off the soup can and spread the label out, it's in the shape of a rectangle. Well, how do we find that rectangle? The height times the length, and this length here, 2 pi r, remember, is simply the circumference of the circle. Okay, so all parts of that formula come from other things that we have already talked about. Okay, so we want to find the volume and the surface area of this rectangular solid. Let's start with volume. That's the easiest to find. Volume, if you know the formula, is just length times width times height. So 3 times 6 times 2. Doesn't matter which you call the length, the width, or the height. It's just a matter of multiplying all of them together. Remember, the order we multiply does not matter. 3 times 6 times 2 is 36 centimeters cubed. Okay, surface area. We got to find the area of all 6 faces. The top, bottom, left, right, front, and back. The nice thing is there's really 3 pair of sides. The top side is going to be the same as the bottom side. So the top and the bottom, well, is 6 by 2. So that's how I find the area of that, which is 12. But remember, there are two of those. There's a top side and a bottom side, so the total area of those two are 24. Left side and right side. Left side is 3 by 2. There are two of those sides, so 2 times 6 is 12. Finally, the front side and the back side. Front side and back side is 6 by 3. So 6 times 3, which is 18. But again, there's a front and a back, so there are two of them, which is 36. And now we add up each of those. 24 plus 12 plus 36 is 72 square centimeters. A cube. Remember, for the cube, we had shortcuts. We can say the volume is simply the side cubed. A cube is a form of a rectangular prism, though, so I could just go 4 times 4 times 4 and get the same thing, or 4 cubed. It doesn't matter. Either way, you're going to get there pretty quick to the answer. 4 cubed is 64 centimeters cubed. Surface area. Surface area of a cube is 6 times the side squared. Here's where this formula comes from. Remember, this is a type of rectangular prism. In this case, the front side, the back side obviously are the same. The top and bottom are the same. The left and right are the same. But more than that, all 6 of those are the same. So that's the same as taking 6 times the side squared, because the front side is 4 by 4, the left side is 4 by 4. So once again, you could just use your formula that we had on the last page for surface area of a rectangular prism. This, though, is going to save you a little bit of time and be a little bit quicker. 4 squared, we have to do that first, is 16. 16 times 6 gives us 96. It's an area, so centimeters squared. Cylinder. Volume of a cylinder, pi r squared h. Once you know the formula, it's just a matter of plugging in what you're given. Radius is 3. Height is 8. Be careful when you plug into your calculator that you follow order of operations. 3 squared is 9, so we have 9 times 8, which is 72 pi. Get a decimal from the calculator, or just leave it in this form. I'm just going to leave it in this form, so that's 72 pi meters cubed because it is a volume. Surface area. A little bit more complicated formula. 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Plug in what we know. Radius is 3. Height is 8. Radius is 3 again. Now it's just a matter of simplifying that correctly in your calculator. 2 times 3 times 8 gives us 48 pi. Plus 3 squared is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Plus 18 pi. Surface area is 66 pi meters squared. So using the formulas aren't too bad. It's remembering them and being able to write them down. Once you have them, just plug things in, follow order of operations, use your calculator to simplify. Last thing we're going to look at are spheres. To find the volume and surface area of a sphere, it's actually two pretty easy formulas. The only thing we need to know about the sphere is the radius. If I know the radius of a sphere, so the distance from the center of a sphere to any point on the sphere, then I can find the volume and surface area rather easily. Volume, 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. So let's plug in. That's 4 pi times the radius is 5. Simplify with your calculator once again. 5 cubed is 125. 125 times 4 is 500 pi over 3 units feet cubed. Surface area, 4 pi r squared. 4 pi times 5 squared. 5 squared is 25. 25 times 4 is 100. So we get 100 pi feet squared. For those two formulas, again, you would have to be able to supply them yourself, but with those two formulas, remember your units. If it's volume, it's cubed. So that's how you would know that you use r cubed here. For area, units are always in square units. That's how you know you use r squared. So try to make some connections like that to make it simpler for you to memorize all of these formulas.